Creepozoids, not to be confused with Freakazoid, which is what I thought I was going to be watching, is a 1987 sci-fi horror movie that takes place in the distant future of 1998. It's funny what people of the 80s thought the future would be like. A desolated wasteland, water and food shortages, and the government killing civilians. Turns out they were just off by a couple of decades. Creepozoids opens up telling us that it's 1998. There was a nuclear war and now the Earth is a husk of a planet. There are some survivors that roam the wastelands hiding from mutants and seeking shelter from the acid rain. So that's all fine and good, but listen to this music. It's banging. Now we meet with this small group of survivors. They all seem like military, and later on we find out that they all went AWOL while fighting for their country, and if they get caught, they'll be killed for desertion. It's not really that important, but now you know why they're on the run and why they can't call for help later on. So anyway, it starts raining that acid rain, but as luck would have it, they find a building that looks deserted, and they take shelter for the night. Inside, they find everything they would need. Food, drinking water, beds, and even hot water for a shower. Which, I would have to admit, would feel great. I always think about that while watching movies like this. These people haven't showered in probably weeks. Can you imagine what it must feel like to take a hot shower? We definitely take that for granted. One time, my hot water tank was out, and I had to take cold showers. Worst 3 days of my life. So, where was I? Oh yeah, our survivors enjoying themselves. Maybe a little too much. Jesse here decides to figure out just what this place was used for. It's obviously some sort of lab, but what were they researching? Well, he finds some files on the computer that seem to indicate that they were experimenting with amino acids. Something along the lines of making it so humans can make their own amino acids, so we wouldn't need to eat. Now, a little known fact about me is that I am a scientist and a genius, and this amino acid stuff is 100% true fact. So don't worry about it, and just trust this movie. While digging around on the computer, Jesse hears something coming from a vent, and he decides to go take a look. Inside, he finds this black goo, and something attacks him. The next morning, Jake is going around waking everyone up, and he goes to Jesse's room. And, surprise, he's there, and he's fine. Or is he? During breakfast, they're talking about what they need to do to make this building their new home when suddenly Jesse starts freaking out. His eyes turn yellow and he throws up that black goo. It looks painful, and eventually he dies. Understandably, the crew is pretty freaked out. They don't know what killed him. Was it the food? The air they're breathing? Are they all doomed? They don't know about the Creepozoid, but they soon find out. It goes around, not really attacking the others, but just jumping out and scaring them. Jake thinks it doesn't want to kill them, but if that's the case, what does it want to do? Turn them into a Creepozoid? I'm still not really sure. So everybody is on the offense looking for this thing, when another foe pops up. Giant mutant rats. Man, don't these people have enough to deal with? Well, they fight it off, but Kate is pretty messed up. If the rats don't get you, the Creepozoid will. Anyway, they go to rescue this guy Butch, who starts to turn, and he gets the same fate as Jesse. Ouch. Now that he's dead, they run back to Kate, who isn't looking too good herself. I think she was actually able to handle the transformation, or maybe she turned into a deadite. I'm not too sure the rules of this movie. Blanca and Kate fight a bit, and in the end she chokes Kate with a bookshelf. Brutal. It's just Blanca and Jake left, and the monster kills her off pretty quick. So now we're ready for the final showdown. Man versus mutant. Who will win? Well, lucky for Jake, he finds this medical kit that has some syringes and some type of antidote. Eventually, he's able to inject it into the creature, which seems to kill it. But wait, what's this? Something is coming out of it? What? What's happening? Is it giving birth? Or was this tiny baby inside controlling it the whole time? What is this? Well, anyway, it cuts the umbilical cord and tries to get to Jake. I'm at a loss for words. I can honestly say I never thought I would see a scene where a baby emerged from a mutant and went on a killing spree. This baby's tough, too. Jake throws it around and it just keeps getting back up. In the end, he strangles it with its own umbilical cord and it dies. Jake goes around and sees that he's the last survivor of the group. Then, the baby wakes up. Did you just see that? Like, we watched the same movie, right? This wasn't just some weird fever dream I just had. They made a movie about a mutant that died, had a baby, and then went on a killing spree? Boy, they just don't make them like they used to, I guess. Creepozoids is something. It's not bad, but it's definitely going for a B movie right off the bat. The beginning is kinda boring, but the end more than makes up for it. The music is banging and nobody can tell me different, and the dark, grimy setting looked pretty cool. But I can't ignore the bad acting, the cheesy costume, and the thin plot. They set up a post-apocalyptic world here that was pretty interesting. I want to know more about the government. Why did these people decide to live a life of running and hiding? And why is that better than fighting on the front lines? I guess they thought that they would have been killed right off the bat, but hey, at least they have 3 hot meals and a bed every night. The amino acid thing, as crazy as it sounds, is a pretty good idea. I like to think that the test subject was a pregnant human. They gave her this injection that made it so she didn't have to eat, but then went crazy because she wanted to eat. You know how those pregnancy cravings go. She turned into this monster, and then the baby came out at the end. But now I'm just thinking too much into it. This was made cheap and to make a quick buck. Watch it once, and then just forget about it. I give Creepozoids 2 mutant killer babies out of 4.